What's up, brand builders? Stephen Hurahan here at brandmasteracademy.com, and in this video you're going to learn 9 types of logos for your brand strategy so you can align your strategy with your visual identity and communicate strategically from the very first touch point. Now, a logo is one of the visual elements within brand strategy that plays an important role in attracting customers to a brand. It creates the initial appeal that sets the tone for how the brand is expressed and experienced. As the old adage goes, a brand is not a logo, though the logo does play a vital role in attracting attention and increasing the memorability of a brand. And evoking that memorability and recognition is the primary role of the logo. Now look, there are no hard and fast rules when it comes to the types of logos brands can consider when setting out on their branding project. However, choosing the correct type of logo is important in appealing visually to your audience and increasing the chances of being remembered in that buying decision. Great logos tell stories, and that's why your brand strategy should be the foundational pillar on which your logo is designed. Now, of course, that logo is about that memorability, but where there is an opportunity to align strategically with your brand, that opportunity needs to be taken up. So in this video, we're going to consider the different types of logos with examples and how you can design the right type of logo to align with your brand strategy. So let's start off with the different types of logos. Number 1, brand marks or pictorial marks. Also known as logo symbols, brand marks are made up of a graphic symbol or icon that represents a real-world object, and it reflects the brand's identity or what the brand does. So when you see such symbols, you can easily match the logo with the brand that owns them, and you can start to identify what the brand actually does through the logo. For example, Apple's logo is an apple, while Twitter's logo is a bird. Other examples include Target, Shell, Instagram, and YouTube as well. So it's very literal in the image that they're representing through the logo and what they do. Now, again, there are no hard and fast rules when it comes to creativity, and the logo can represent the brand name or it can represent what the brand does. So for instance, Apple's logo literally represents the apple and the brand name, while the YouTube logo depicts a video play button and it represents the video service they provide. Now, these types of logos tend to be popular with startups because startups don't have any awareness out there and they want the market to understand as quickly as possible what they do. And these types of logos can be very descriptive in telling the market either who the brand is through the brand name or who the brand is through what they do. And that visual representation can help the market to understand what the brand does or who they are. 2 examples of brands using this type of pictorial mark are T-shirt Elephant and Metal Horse. Now, these logos depict what these brands do. T-shirt Elephant, obviously, it puts forward the idea that they are a t-shirt company and they produce t-shirts, while Metal Horse, they produce metal artwork. So that represents exactly what they do. So it helps the market to understand what these brands are all about, and it gives them meaning, which is really important for startups and brands that don't have a huge amount of awareness in the marketplace. If you are considering using a brand mark or pictorial mark for your logo, ensure that there is a direct or abstract alignment to the products or services that the brand offers. Brand marks are a good choice for brands that specialize in one product or service that can be easily represented by an image or some kind of pictorial mark. Number 2, Wordmark Logos. Now, a Wordmark logo is essentially a type-based logo. Brands use strong typography to create logos that use their business name to express their brand identity. Now, the disadvantage of a Wordmark logo is that there isn't some kind of visual image to represent what the brand does or represent the brand's name, but what it lacks in that visual representation, it makes up for with the name sitting front and center. Now, there are a number of different reasons that brands might do this, and depending on the style of the brand and what they do would depend on the typography that they choose, the typeface that they use. For a Wordmark logo to be effective, the choice of typography and its characteristics must align with the strategy and the attributes that the brand has defined. For example, a brand that aims to celebrate its long-standing heritage might do well to consider a more traditional type from a relative period. Now, if you can't find a relevant font or an existing font to align with the look and feel that you aim to achieve, you can create a custom typeface, which would add to the uniqueness of the wordmark. Examples of brands that use wordmarks include Coca-Cola, Uber, Tiffany & Co., Subway, Kellogg's, and eBay. Number 3, abstract logo marks. Now, abstract logo marks are the type of pictorial logo that doesn't have a recognizable image. They're usually abstract geometric forms that are custom made for a brand to express its uniqueness. Now, one advantage of this type of logo is that it gives brands enough room to design and create a logo that showcases and communicates their brand personality and their uniqueness. Some popular companies using abstract logo marks include Pepsi, Adidas, Nike, and Airbnb. Now, of course, alongside the advantage of that creativity, there is the disadvantage of this type of logo mark that it can be too abstract. And if it is too abstract, then there may not be any type of meaning there whatsoever, which could be a missed opportunity. Now, at the end of the day, the job of the logo is to be memorable, but there is also an opportunity to create meaning as well. So if you can create an abstract mark that gives some kind of meaning and some kind of creativity about the uniqueness of the brand, then make sure you take that opportunity to provide that meaning alongside the uniqueness and memorability as well. Number 4, mascot logos. Now, mascot logos are illustrated characters as visual representations of their brand. Such characters can be fictitious or real people that are usually referred to as the brand's spokesperson or ambassador. The characters used in mascots can be a great tool for communicating with the audience, and they can take on this kind of human persona, whether they're human characters or they're animal characters. They can take on these human personas and actually talk directly to the audience through marketing campaigns or throughout the brand experience. Examples of brands using mascot logos include KFC, CompareTheMarket.com, Pringles, Geico, and MailChimp. Now look, mascots are a great way to add personality to a brand and really embody the attributes that the brand sets out within the brand strategy. But only brands that want to communicate a lighthearted approach should play in this space. If your brand brings an element of fun into the lives of your audience, or you simply want to communicate that you're a lighthearted approach within your market, then a mascot logo could work for you. Number 5, combination marks. Now, combination marks are probably the most flexible option when we consider what we've looked at so far, considering that we've looked at the pictorial or the brand mark, we've looked at the word mark, and we've also looked at the abstract mark. Now, this combines or gives you the ability to combine all 3 of those, and that gives you the best of both worlds because you have the visual aspect of the image or the pictorial mark, and you also have the benefit of the word mark as well. Now, this can be used in combination. They can be stacked differently, formed differently, but it also gives you that flexibility to use just the icon in some circumstances, to use just the word mark in other circumstances, and to use the combination of the 2 to communicate who you are as a brand, the brand name, and also the potential meaning of that brand into the marketplace to give the audience an understanding of who the brand is and what it's all about as well. Examples of brands using the combination mark logos include Lacoste, Burger King, Adidas, Chanel, and Mercedes-Benz. Number 6, emblem logos. Now, emblems are crests, badges, and seals used by brands to promote their traditional values. Emblem logos are designed by placing fonts and icons to provide unique logos in a unique or traditional looking form. Famous brands using crest logos include Starbucks, Harley-Davidson, BMW, Juventus, and Volkswagen. So organizations like schools, government agencies, sports clubs, the auto industry, and brands with long traditions tend to use this type of logo. If you want to communicate a sense of tradition or high standard, the emblem logo may be a legitimate option for your brand. As a bonus tip, keep your emblem logo as simple as possible to avoid clutter. Remember, the primary job of the logo is memorability. Number 7, dynamic marks. Now, as the name implies, dynamic mark logos are created in different forms so that they can easily adapt to different branches or segments of the brand or different sub-brands as well. Now, for each variation of the dynamic mark, an element of the logo changes. So this might be the color, the text, the shape, or the icon. Examples of brands using dynamic marks are FedEx, Google, Nickelodeon, and Virgin. Now, this type of logo can be a viable option for brands operating across multiple market segments or multiple markets. It's also a viable option for a branded house setup where the parent brand has a brand portfolio, and that portfolio of brands is serving different markets, such as FedEx and Virgin as an example. Now, although dynamic marks are flexible by nature, it is key to keep an element of consistency across the board so that the logo variations are aligned. Number 8, lettermarks or monograms. Now, lettermark logos are created using the letters of a brand's initials. Think of brands like International Business Machines, also known as IBM, Cable News Network, CNN, Hewlett-Packard, HP, and Life's Good, LG. Now, in most cases, the majority of the market don't know the real names of the brands and only identify them by their initials. Now, you might not know a company called Bayerische Motorenwerke, but no doubt you know the name BMW. I'm sorry to my German friends listening. I absolutely butchered that. Now, obviously, creating a logo with the original name would make for a much more difficult challenge than creating a logo for BMW. And this is the beauty of this type of logo, being able to communicate that simplicity and being able to make the brand more memorable. But obviously, this is a strategic decision that comes from the very top within the brand strategy. Now, just a side note on initialism, it's not always the best option, and there are definitely some other options out there that will allow you to provide the market with more meaning and memorability for your brand as well, because for the most part, most people don't understand what the letters represent. And as I said, that is a missed opportunity to provide the market with some kind of meaning as to what the brand does. So again, this is a decision that comes from the very top within the business and the brand strategy. So take your time to consider whether initialism is right for you or your brand. And finally, we have number 9, letterforms. Now, letterforms are one-letter logos and miniature versions of lettermarks. The letter in the logo is usually the first letter of the company's name. Sometimes companies create this type of logo as a complement to an existing logo and as a supplement or a team player in the overall brand identity. Successful letterforms, however, can go on to become the preferred choice of logo use over time as it becomes more recognized. Examples of brands using letterforms are Netflix, McDonald's, and Facebook. Now, of course, if you already have a brand that's popular in the market and you have some awareness out there, you can create a letterform logo for your brand if you're able to take that and make it memorable. If your brand has high levels of awareness, introducing a letterform mark may help to increase levels of brand recognition and recall. Now, one thing that sets iconic brands apart is the memorability and effectiveness of their logos. Consider brands like Apple, McDonald's, Twitter, Netflix, Facebook, and even Toyota. Each one of these brands boasts a simple and immediately recognizable logo. Such logos are often products of a rigorous design process, though many organically evolve over time. Memorable logos with high levels of recognition all adhere to these principles. It's simple. The simpler your logo, the easier it is to recognize and remember, whether on a billboard or a bottle cap. In this digital age where people interact with brands on their mobile devices, logos need to be clear no matter what the size of the screen someone is viewing from. Number 2, attractive. Your logo has to be visually appealing in a way that easily attracts the customer. When creating a brand logo, be clear about what your message is and which visuals can help you to communicate that message. There are certain emotions and feelings you want to evoke, and knowing the right shapes, sizes, colors, tones, typography can help you to evoke those feelings. It needs to be distinctive. The job of your logo is to make your brand easy to remember and recognize when stacked alongside competitors and other non-competing brands as well. When creating your logo for your brand, look to your competitors not for what you should do, but what you shouldn't do. Your logo should be timeless. When planning your logo, don't follow trends. What's trendy today will look dated in a few years' time. Think long term. A change of logo is synonymous with a major brand strategy overhaul, so this is not something that you should do often. It certainly shouldn't happen often for your brand. Your logo design should remain relevant despite emerging trends and market changes. Your logo should also be relevant. So it should be relevant to your business and what you do. The shapes, the images, and the typefaces used in the logo should be in line with what the brand is about and how that brand wants to be perceived in the market. A relevant logo gives people an internal feel of the sense of meaning that brand represents, an understanding of the value of that brand and what it could mean in their lives. And of course, your logo should be memorable. Your business is just one out of millions of businesses vying for the attention of your customers. And that's why you should carefully create a logo that people can easily recall from their memory. And as always, simplicity and distinctiveness are the key to memorability. And it goes without saying that your logo should look professional. In modern markets today, it's easy to go out and get a logo for $5, but cutting corners within business and branding is not something that's recommended, and it's certainly not recommended when it is your very first touch point. This is your opportunity to make an impression on your audience, and if you undercut this job, if you cut corners on this job, then that's what's going to be representing your brand. So make sure that you take the time to engage a professional designer to be able to help you to design something that is going to be able to represent your brand in the way you want to be perceived in the market. Your logo should also be scalable. Now, logos are used in different media, from mobile ads to billboard ads to car wraps, bottle caps, and everywhere in between. The final vector of your brand logo needs to look sharp at every size and on every single touch point. The logo is a part of your brand visual identity and the overall brand strategy, and it's usually the first thing that people see when interacting with your brand. It only takes a few seconds for customers to make a judgment about your company based on what they've seen. So tune up your brand strategy to create logos that will convey the right message about your brand to your target audience. Now look, when it comes to logo design and creativity, as I said before, there are no rules, but certain designs portray different attributes. And when you understand the message that you want to put out in the marketplace, then you're better prepared to choose a design or a logo form that is going to best represent you in the market. So take the time to first define the strategy of your brand, the message that you want to put out there into the marketplace, and then engage a designer to work alongside you to make sure that you're putting out that message into the market from the very first touch point. Now, if you want to dive deeper into brand strategy, then this video here will help you out. But before you click it, if you want to become a master of brand, make sure you hit the like and subscribe to get more videos just like this. Until next time, brand like a master, and I'll see you in the next video.